quick fire round in finishing. Rach, if someone was doing the strategy where we will buy a house an hour and a half away, take that sacrifice for the first year or two, be it a brand new house and land, be it a fixer-upper, be it a insert quarter-acre block with an old shack on it that will sub later and all that stuff, what would you say is an appropriate way to structure the mortgage, knowing that one day that it might become an investment property?
Okay, so top tip is if that property has the potential to ever be an investment property, even if it's a possibility, you would have an offset account or several offset accounts linked to that mortgage, and you would put any excess funds into the offset. The reason you would do that is you only pay interest on what's owing minus the amount in the offset. However, you've got the flexibility to take that money out and put it somewhere else, and then all that's owing against that property be tax deductible. So offset is the most important thing if it's ever going to be or could be an investment property. Now, that could even be not just excess funds. You may even put a little less deposit in. Let's say you've got a 30% deposit and you're buying that as an investment property, or could be a potential investment property down the track. You might only put the 20% down, leave that 10 in the offset, as well as put your extra funds in there because you can use that later on. You can always move it up and pay it off the home loan, but the offset will give you choice.
And just on that, if you don't know, like if the planets do align and you can buy a property within 20-minute drive from where you're currently renting or living, it's a regional suburb, it's Bathurst, it's Bendigo, or I don't know, insert town here, and you're like, we do want to buy property, we don't know 100%, setting up as the offset from day one and maybe just doing the minimum P&I repayments will give you some flexibility as your life develops.
Yeah, so I was actually speaking to a client the other day who's on their third property, but the second that they bought, they were pretty sure was going to be their forever home. But we still had that conversation to say, is there a potential that it might not be? Well, it turns out 2 years later, he was in the medical professional, he moved for work. And again, they've kept that as an investment. Now, how happy was he that all of that money was in offset and that it could go into his owner-occupied home in the next state when he moved?
Another quick fire round question. At what age do banks get reluctant to give a loan to someone as they get close to retirement age?
Now, I would say it depends on the bank. So there is no particular age. You just need to show the bank what your strategy is to exit the mortgage, not the property, but the mortgage. Now, if you're 70 years old and you're, at retirement age or close to it, how are you going to pay that loan off? It's not to say that the bank won't lend you a 30-year loan term, as long as you can show them what you're going to do with it, how are you going to exit it. Now, Bank A and Bank B will vary greatly in what their exit strategy requirements are. So there's no answer to that question other than if you're older than 50 and you're looking to have a 30-year loan term, you're going to want to go to a mortgage broker and find a bank that has a good exit strategy that fits what you're doing.
And just on that, John, you would have clients that, they may have kids that have just left home or in their 20s, got a good handle on their mortgage, and these people in their 50s are looking for investment properties for the next 20 or so years. So you've worked, it's still possible to buy your first investment property after age 50.
Yeah, absolutely. It all comes back to, again, the risk profile. I've spoken about that a lot.
Was your birthday the other day the big 50?
Come on. Not there yet. Closer there than the other way though. But what's the long-term outcome? Okay, if I'm 50, when are you retiring? Do you want to work till you're 70? Do you want to retire at 55? Like if you're retiring at 53, you're not buying an investment property at 50, I don't think, unless you're a property nerd and you've not taken on a major loan and it's positive cash flow from day one.
Yeah. And finally for Rach, the 30-second answer, how does someone who is self-employed / sole trader purchase their first home? Do banks require anything different?
I don't think it's that they require anything different. I think it's that you're going to have to look at how you're set up and what's going to suit you best. So you might be a sole trader and your income doesn't change. You know, you've still got a taxable income and the bank can use that. But some banks will want to see 2 years tax returns. Some banks will want 1. Some banks, if you have a company, they'll look at the salary you're paying for yourself. Some banks will look at company profit. Some banks won't. So I think if you're self-employed, sole trader or company, what you need to do is have a chat to a mortgage broker well before you're looking to buy. And the mortgage broker will work alongside you and your accountant to find the right bank or strategy to fit you. And sometimes that might be down the track, it might be, well, actually, you know, your accountant's doing this fantastic job, but you've actually got no taxable income. There's not enough here. But if we do the little tweak, in 6 months' time, we can make that look very different. So let's all work together to get you in a position to be able to buy.
Abso-effing-lutely. And finally, I don't know why I said that, but I agree. Hannah said, I'd like to hear more about the First Home Super Saver Scheme. This is a scheme where you effectively save for your first home to live in within superannuation. It is quite detailed. A lot of people don't actually use this. And I was just crunching some numbers just before. If you had a 90 grand income and you're single and you're buying a property, even having a 30% deposit, flushing it through super, there's 5 grand in tax savings. So this is free money. I hope by the time this episode goes up, there will be a link in the comments. I'm going to do a full YouTube deep dive on this, and there will be another podcast episode on the First Home Super Saver Scheme. So it's a really good scheme if you do know, and this goes back to your strategy. If you're like, yes, I want to buy my first home and I want to live in it, why wouldn't you use the First Home Super Saver Scheme if you want to save 5 grand?
If it works.
I'm really glad you're going to do a deep dive on that, because I would say, I was reading that question from Hannah, the biggest thing that stops people using it is lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
And it's so complex. I don't know why the federal government just give, and you know, at the time of recording here, the election hasn't been, and they're like, oh, coalition's like, we'll make interest payments for first home bonus tax deductible. Let's just cut all the crap and say, if you're a first home buyer on a federal level, here's a 15 grand grant. Here's a 20 grand grant. Anyway.
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple. Hey, it's Glenn here. Thank you so much for watching today's video. You made it to the end. Can I ask a favor? Can you hit that like button and maybe hit subscribe if you want to get notified when we release further videos just like this one, whether you watch the Money, Money, Money podcast or Retire Right. And remember, if you want to learn more about investing, I've got an investing book, The Quick Start Guide to Investing, and there's a link in the description to get your hands on a copy. Thank you so much. Bye.